sort of leeway, if you like, that's being given to a particular region to demand something extra from the oil. I made a comment, I think, on the documentary to the effect that nobody in Ghana has the right, the constitutional right, to demand a share of the oil as an entitlement. I've heard other comments which suggest that because fishermen, for example, depend on the sea for their livelihood, they can claim compensation. I'm afraid that doesn't really accord with eminent domain theory, where if the state takes your property, they have to pay you compensation. Now, we have to ask ourselves a fundamental question. Do the fishermen that we're talking about have a property right on in the sea? And I'm afraid they don't. The Constitution is clear that all water bodies and all minerals in the state belong to the state of Ghana. The sea, territorial waters are part of the water bodies we're talking about. So nobody has a property right. To suggest that because people depend on the sea as a form of livelihood, they must be compensated because of oil activities, is like saying that if one of us uses community property on a license, that is, we allow them to use community property, and the community as a whole needs that property for a project or a development that will benefit the community as a whole, we now have to pay that person who we allow to use the property some compensation. If we're building a road from Accra to Kumasi and people begin to sell their wares along the road as the road is being constructed, and after construction we now have pavement, so those people can no longer sell there, are they going to make a claim that because their livelihoods depended on those places where they're now going to be pavements and they're no longer going to be able to use it, we must pay them compensation? I don't think so. And I think it is very dangerous for us to begin to encourage that sort of thing. I think I heard Honorable Asante make a point that would it be fair for the people of Ashanti, for example, because most of the gold comes from there, to suggest that they should have a special share in any gold when the state in fact owns mineral resources. I think we should find ways as a government and as a people to help people transition from a particular livelihood to a new one because perhaps because of what is happening. But I don't think it's the same thing as saying that they are entitled to compensation. And I think that if this matter went to court, those who are pushing this idea that people whose livelihoods depend on the sea in the western region are entitled to compensation will not succeed. I can bet my bottom dollar on that.
And I thank you for your thoughts. I want to announce our phone number, 0302-216-541, 0302-216-542, 0302-216-543. We've just got a couple of minutes, and then I'll take those phone calls.
I think I need a quick response to this argument. Now, there are separate points to this issue. Now, the Constitution is extremely clear on this. All mineral resources are vested in the state. It doesn't matter what the mineral resource is. If it's in the Ashanti region, the Upper East region, or wherever it's located, it's vested in the state. So the argument that because the oil has been discovered in the Western region, it belongs to the people of the Western region, that is a very bad argument. But the issue being raised, it has to do with compensation. The issue of compensation is totally different from the issue of whether the mineral resource is vested in the people of the Western region. They have beneficial interest in that. These are two separate issues. And the point I was talking about was in respect to compensation. Not because the mineral resource belongs to them, but because when, as a result of whether you use it, whatever, that is why even in property law we talk about easement, right of way, and all those things. When you have done something, that has, in a way, become an entitlement, and then something is done to affect that right, you are entitled to some compensation. And I think that all the rules on eminent domain really bear this out. And of course, for about 100 years now, because of a certain school in jurisprudence, nobody talked about property rights in terms of a physical thing. It's just an interest. If that interest can be monetized, can be quantifiable, it's an asset, and people need to be compensated when they are denied that asset.
Thank you. When you have two lawyers, you need a judge. I've got Judge Asari on the phone line. Judge, if you can hear us, good morning. Let's hear your thoughts.